I'd like to bring attention to the unsustainability of the small alfalfa farmer in the Antelope Valley, Kern County, California. I'd like to present and share a short video of one small third-generation alfalfa farmer named Casey Alesso, expressing his concern why his farming legacy will be unable to be passed down to his 11-year-old son to carry on as a fourth-generation alfalfa farmer in the area of Antelope Valley, that is in California's 23rd Congressional District, served by Congressman Kevin McCarthy. By showing this video, we are hoping to create an awareness of the issues pertaining to the demise of the small farmer, so that action at the federal level as well as state and county levels might mitigate and offer solutions to prevent the collapse of small business operations that have survived and prospered for generations. We believed that our current president ran his election platform on the idea of sustaining and prospering small businesses, which ultimately reflect the American spirit our country was founded on. So.
Yeah. We're recording.
Okay.
Sure, come watch.
Thanks.
I'm a third-generation farmer from the Antelope Valley area of Southern California. My grandfather came over here from Italy and started farming in the Tehachapi area in 1922. From then on, the farming lifestyle was passed down to my father, who started farming on his own when he was actually a teenager in high school. I became a farmer after him, the only of 6 children in our family that became a farmer. I started off farming here in the year 2000, leasing this farm and taking over the lease from the neighboring farmer who I worked for. From 2000 to 2005, I had expanded from this 240 acres to 640 acres, all in crop land and farming. Then in 2008, the price of doing business for farms essentially more than doubled across the board, especially in the #1 area of which I was the #1 expense of farming, which is electricity. Since then, the very next year, the price of hay in 2009 cut in half, and that forced me to get way smaller as a farmer. During the time as I have been getting smaller, there has been increased regulation, increased expenses even more, especially with the electric company, and threats of increasing expenses even more yet. I am now, in 2017, down to 120 acres of farmland. I am trying to stay alive as a farmer. I have my son who helps me out. He's 11 years old. I don't see a fourth-generation farm coming out of this legacy simply because of taxation, regulation, and expenses. If you look at the taxes, are kind of unbelievable for farming. You have, of course, self-employment tax. You have a tax on our electricity, believe it or not. That's one of the subcategories of that. We have state income tax, we have federal income tax, we have property tax. We have employee taxes. Oh, and by the way, I had an employee of 10 years that I had to lay off because of being forced to get smaller. So we're taxed kind of ridiculously high, and I think it's multiple times what in the Revolutionary War our forefathers went to war against tyrannical government with their taxes. So I think this does not even compare. Tyrannical is even too small of a word to me. The regulations keep increasing. Just the other day I got something in the mail from somebody sent from this county saying that they're an organization that require so much money for a permit each year to burn agricultural waste. Luckily, I don't burn agricultural waste, but that was just another entity that pops up out of nowhere. Had another one called a regulation from the state that came up and then told me that to get out of doing burdensome paperwork and filing, which I would have to hire another employee for, which is detrimental to my bottom line trying to stay alive as a farmer, that I would have to have less than 55 gallons of any liquid container containing any fuels or oils. A lot of the farmers, probably from other states, are laughing at this, but this is a reality in the state of California. Another thing, I would like to state is farming is tough enough without all these regulations. It's very expensive to plant, to till, to keep equipment running, to keep the bills paid, to do the paperwork, to pay the taxes. But on top of that, we have our normal everyday lives of trying to fight the weather. A windstorm can come in and blow and damage our lines. It can damage our crop or blow our crop away when we're cutting hay. We have critters like gophers that we have to keep after and keep them under control from putting too much dirt in the hay. Squirrels, rabbits that might eat down the hay. Not long ago there was a plague of rabbits, actually. Thousands would come in and just take the crop straight down. So I would have to fence to keep them out. So there's a lot of other factors that are not normal to any other job or business, which makes it increasingly difficult. But then to add on all of these other things, it is quite ridiculous. And coupled with that is farming, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, has consistently, within the past decades, been one of the top 5 most dangerous jobs in America. So you have a dangerous job, you have increased expenses, you have tons of regulations, and the job is difficult enough without all that. And I believe a lot of this is the reason why I have gotten smaller and why there will not be a 4th generation. And my son, who loves to farm also. Going into the farming life without all that, when it was able to make a profit, made a lot of things easier because you could hire employees, you could have things done. But when you get smaller and smaller, it makes it increasingly difficult to field all of these different types of things that attack your livelihood. And attack, I think, is a great word, because what I feel oftentimes is like I'm a lone person walking through a town and everybody has their guns pointed at me. That's what I feel like being a small farmer in Southern California at this time. I hope to carry on this legacy. I hope to farm. There's a water lawsuit that was brought in by a neighboring county in Los Angeles, and they told us that they are going to be, and it is a judgment, they're going to be cutting back our water by 60%. And so after, and that will be in 5 years, they'll start cutting it back within the next couple of years, but it'll be back by 60% within the next 5 years. So I will be out of farming. I don't see any possibility of me still farming after 5 years. It would take some sort of a dynamic shift in the way California operates and the way our government operates, both local and state and federal. I shouldn't say both, but all 3 of those. It would take a dynamic change in things that are happening, government-wise, tax-wise, business-wise, from businesses that keep charging more and more without my product going up more and more in an equal fashion. I'd love to farm hay. I love the people who buy the hay. They're great people. And I would hope to continue to do this, but I don't see any possibility or any way that will happen in the near future. When I farm hay, irrigate over 2 irrigations usually. It's usually every 35 days I will cut the hay and then wait for it to cure out and wait for the perfect moisture, which I have known over time to just feel by hand to know that it won't be too wet or too dry. Too dry, the bales just don't flake apart and they fall down and shatter, and which is no good for a customer. Too wet, you can actually put it up and it can overheat inside the bale and burn your whole stack down. So, and I know just by feel, by being a 3rd generation farmer and being raised on a farm, how to feel for the correct moisture of that hay. A lot of the things you have to remember, it's just natural for me, but if you took another person from outside of farming and tried to show them, you couldn't write enough books for them to read and know what to do in a farming situation such as this. And again, this is my life. I do love it. I'd loved it a lot more without all the increased taxes, with all the increased regulations, all the increased expenses. Now I'm just in survival mode, trying to do what I love until I can't do it anymore, which seems to be in the near future. Hopefully not even near as expenses raise. The electric company tells us that they're looking to raise prices even more. They have, if you look at the electric company's bills, they've learned to divide and conquer. There's probably about 6, 7 or so subcategories in every electric bill, and it seems like at some point, at any time, one of those subcategories is getting raised. Not necessarily has to be the rate, although they raise those often enough, but it could be some of the other subcategories, such as the taxes or transportation costs or standby fees. Those are some of the things that are in it. It just seems ridiculous that prices of doing business, parts prices, equipment prices go up to match all these increases, but the cost of my commodity, that being hay, actually goes down. I don't think that it's fair. I believe there should be some sort of action to cause a reversal of a lot of this, especially for the small farmer. A large farmer might be able to survive because they might have heavy backing, they might have many, many more years, and they might have several employees that can take care of the paperwork, the regulations. I am a lone person. I do not have an employee. I just do it all myself, and it's difficult enough doing that without any outside burdensome regulations, taxes, and expenses. It is such a high cost for a farmer in Southern California, and the reason why is that electricity is what we use for our pump motors to pump the water out of the ground to fuel our irrigation, or to pump our irrigation water for our lines to water the crop. So that is why electricity is our #1 cost. Another thing I would like to cover is even the latest increase in registration fees for our vehicle. For farm trucks, the registration fees used to be an astronomical $250 a year for my farm trucks. They have gone up almost double now. And on top of that, they have increased the fuel tax for those trucks here in this state. So that is just another thing that makes it increasingly burdensome. My days, when I get up, I usually get up at dawn and I start working, and it's hard to plan out a day because oftentimes there's things that go wrong. A line can break, and then I have to alter my plan or my schedule to repair that line. A piece of equipment can break down, and my equipment is old equipment. I actually have 2 tractors that are from my father, and they are old tractors. One's from the 1960 time, and the other one's from 1965. they're still running, but get this, there is a smog regulation on farm equipment in California. It was passed a number of years ago, and it essentially made it to where my farm equipment is worth far less than it used to be, because it used to be a resellable item. Now, with the smog laws, you have to have an increased tier level of smog on your tractors to be able to farm legally. Now, I am in an area that is very clean air, so they have decided not to regulate this area for now, but all it takes is for the government to change their mind, and then my equipment will be regulated to where I would have to put even more money into trying to make my equipment smog legal for this area. Can you see why this is getting from the ridiculous to the sublime? I am just a farmer. This is what is going on in my life. I work every day, get up every day at dawn, try to do my schedule. Equipment can break down. The cost of fixing that can be in excess of $500 a breakdown. Some breakdowns, whether a well or a piece of farm equipment, can easily go $10,000. That's a very scary thing for me, but that's the life I live. I go through, when things break down, it alters my entire schedule. It's not like a normal business. I might have to go into the night working to keep things going. But I do love this work. I love the outside work in the fields, in the country, with the fresh air. It is a very nice thing, but it has become increasingly burdensome to do business with. Some firefighters, some YouTubers or gamers. My son was the only one that held up a plaque saying farmer. And he has grown up on this farm, he loves this farm, but I find it sad that I don't think there's a future in farming for my son. I don't think at this point in time I could encourage him to pursue farming just because of what the outlook or the future looks for a small farmer in not just this country, but especially in this state that we live in today, and with the multitude of difficulties as far as regulations, taxes, and the natural occurrences that go on to perpetuate that type of an impossible atmosphere to be able to continue in this type of a business. Yes.
So that's kind of the, yeah.
Got it. I was just curious.
Yeah, we're trying to get it out by the fair. I doubt that we will, but I know out at the fairgrounds they have that rural museum, and they're open like one Saturday a month or something. So we're going to have it running there, but we'll send it everywhere.
Okay.
So, you know, I'd send it to all the publications as well. But the thing is, it's an awareness so people understand, you know, this is really the spirit of America. And here,
Sure.
we are just so blessed and so fortunate, because this farm is right up the road, up on 90th, going up to Tehachapi, Willow Springs. It's in the Willow Springs area. Small farm, he does it all, as he said. His equipment is all there. There's no middleman. And so we're doing the whole video with, we've done interviews with him obviously, but we've been out there filming. He has the bale, the baler, the swather, we're actually having a section in the video, it's called From Seed to Sale. So you actually see the process of what it takes for a bale of hay. And his bale of hay, because we buy hay from him, his bales of hay, like he said, have basically stayed the same since 2009.
Right.
And the other thing that a lot of people don't understand is his bales are over 100 pounds, but different alfalfa farmers, whether they're big conglomerates or whatever, they can make the bale smaller. They can make it like a 80-pounder or whatever, and still you'll see bale of bale of hay, you know, $11.95, $12.95. Some of the stores that are, you know, you have a middleman and the store, the retail.
Sure.
You know, they can be up to 18, 19, and they might not even be as big as Casey's over 100. So there's a lot, but we're winding it in with a lot of footage of him. In fact, one day, we were out like at 5:30 in the morning because he does a lot. He has to make sure, we have a picture in the video actually that we're trying to edit and put all together, of him feeling the moisture in that hay.
You mentioned that, I remember.
Yeah, in the hay, to see it has to be just right.
Or he said it lights on fire, didn't he?
It can be if it's too wet and they pack it in, or if it's too dry, it will just, the bale flakes off, yeah. So there's such a craftsmanship and such
it's an art,
and it's an art, and we have a lot of footage too as he brings the irrigation. They're the big irrigation wheels. I don't know if you've ever seen them with the you probably have, right? The spigots, and you move it down, and it has to be done so many hours. I have a picture of him changing the pump lines, and it's just amazing. And he's the one person. And you know, when you see the bale hauler, that's an old hauler. I think it was his father's, and you know, goes in and picks the bales up after they've been baled, and then brings it into the stack yard and drops it. I mean, it's such a process. So we're gonna work for like a 20 minutes, 22-minute max on the video, but wind in a lot of his dialogue will be wound in. But I wanted you to really see him front and center, so you could really see the sincerity, the spirit.
I mean, my own personal story, I'll tell you that. It's not one person, but I come from a family of farmers myself.
Oh, God bless you.
Still small, but not one person, obviously, but family. Yeah. So there's several.
Well, we love the family.
And just he touched on a few things, like for example, like the farm equipment that once it's out of service, if the law changes, all of a sudden your brand new piece of equipment is obsolete. And then for in my case, we do almonds. So you have to burn the holes afterwards, and you have to get a whole new permit for that. And if you don't do everything just right, the state will come in and shut you down. So he said a lot of things that I'm like, yeah, I've heard of that, and yeah, I've heard of that too.
So you understand the spirit and how we.
Oh yeah.
Is your farm still going?
They're up in they're north of Bakersfield, but we do grapes and almonds, and not nearly as big as like the big corporate ones.
Yeah. There, well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about we don't. And you can see the sincerity and the just the realization that this is probably, and Curtis is out there when we're, you know, because like I said, we buy our hay there also, and you know, throwing the bales down into the trailers, and that would be the sale part.
Sure.
You know, we're trying to depict the whole stages of the process, but we're not. The video isn't about teaching somebody to be a farmer. It's trying to bring them in with the passion that somehow maybe there's something with you know, any ideas or solutions, because we really want to have at the end of the video, and I really have it when he's out in the field doing things, what people can do, you know, just getting a petition of, you know, people's the interested in even, you know, sending them to Kevin, for example, or a petition sending them to the supervisors, or a petition sending them to some of our state reps as well. But getting people involved to say, you know, we really want these small businesses to be sustainable.
Right.
Well, and you have a reasonably, well, it's not small, but we really support small business.
Now, when you say we, is there a group? Do you represent a group, an official?
No, we're not.
No, you're just being.
Well, when I first was introduced here, I said my husband and I, you know, are very supportive of small town government, small town. I mean, I'm from back east, and my father was born on a farm. I mean, it's the farming out here. Of course, he goes 5. It's not on this particular one I showed you, but he goes 5 cycles, which is good. 35 days is basically what he's judging on the process. But if he's lucky, but he said like this spring, the heat came in real fast, and that ruined that particular crop. It can either be too hot sometimes before it has a chance to really mature, or in the fall, all of a sudden you can get that freeze.
And I said we had a freeze this last winter. Right?
Yes, and what he said too, what I thought was really very responsible, he said that he never, again, before you came in, I was saying we feel very strongly about not ever name calling or anything, because that's very distracting. If somebody has a difference of opinion of you, I'll say, I respect you, but, but there are people
Sure.
that, in the case of alfalfa, a lot of people will cut it green, and that won't hurt like my sheep because they have 4 stomachs, but that could give a horse colic.
Sure.
He's very sensitive to, in other words, not going for the immediate profit, but having the quality in his product so that it's it's a quality thing, and it has a lot of. You can see he has a real good conscience for how he's presenting his product.
So I'd be curious, and I'll give you an extra card too. If you might want to give it to him himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I already gave you one.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Because I'm curious. He mentioned taxes, regulations, expenses. Which regulations specifically he's facing? As I know already that the House, Senate, and the administration have been looking to cut federal regulation. And I know that in terms of, you mentioned water too at some point, that we're trying
That's
by August, I think.
Oh.
Don't quote me on that, but it's, Congressman Valadea, who represents Hanford, just above us, Kern County, he has water legislation pending that he wants to bring to the House for a vote. And I want to say that they're going to be having kind of preliminary hearings on it in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Month-ish.
But that's
max.
on that other county, right?
No, it would affect the entire country.
Oh.
The goal to bring more water from the Delta up north
Yeah.
to the Central Valley. Obviously, the drought isn't as quite as severe as it once was,
Right,
but we want to make sure we can store water in dry seasons.
Yeah.
That way, when we have another big drought,
Yeah.
farmers like Casey aren't paying
Right.
100%, receiving 60 or
Oh,
less
that's
percent.
so good, yeah.
Because that's one of our biggest grievances is that they have to pay for 100 to be permitted water. They have to pay 100% of their fee. But then they might only get 60 or 40 or less than that.
Exactly,
And when you buy a bottle of water, you pay for the whole bottle, not
Right.
for the bottom
exactly,
quarter. So
yeah.
that's just our take. But I guess the reason I say that is because I'm curious to see in what specific manner he's being affected.
Okay.
Specifically on the federal level, where we can actually have some sway.
I think the best thing is I'll have him call you at his.
You can email me or call me, whichever works better.
Yeah, the thing, it's amazing because when we go out there, we're always, we're filming and then to put it together into, you have a lot of footage and then edit it down, of course, but he's always, like one time, everybody kind of chips in to load the hay. If he's off, there was a broken pipe, and that's, that takes center stage before even loading for your customers. And, like he says, his customers are really good. Everybody, there's so much, support, I would say, here.
Takes a community.
In small town America and small town farming and everything, there's a lot of really, really good people. I mean, you really get that spirit that America still is alive and well. I mean, it is. I mean, we hear, a lot of times you hear things that, well, what are you doing to make that change? See, that's what we feel.
Absolutely.
You know,
no,
I mean you have to, and in the video too, we'll put, change does not happen with apathy, it happens with action. And, people can say, well, you can't fight City Hall, you can't. Well, what have you done about it? I mean, we'll go up, sometimes of different things, it'll be my husband and maybe 3 other people sitting in the front row of the supervisors, and everybody else is like, well, who feels it? And behind you, there might be 150 people that are voting on the issue you're against. But that's okay. You've actually at least expressed your opinion.
I'm always impressed whenever I come out to the county areas that don't have a city hall or city government, like Rosamond or Mojave, just because to get things done, you have to have your entire community behind your back. A lot of times it takes more than just your city. It takes your help along with Mojave's help and say Quartz Hill or something.
Exactly,
that's kind of a stretch, but
no, but I know.
Same thing goes like in the other big community that comes to mind is like the Kern Valley. They have like Lake Isabella, Kernville, It's all these small communities that have to pull together whenever something happens. They want to.
But I mean, in your heart, you can see how, we've known him now. Oh, I don't know, quite a long time because we bought hay from him, and we've talked about many other things. And he kind of represents what we don't want to see, a vanishing legacy for other businesses that are being handed down, or just in general, you know. And we hear that the platform of our president said, you know, he wants small business to prosper. He wants, you know, we're just, you know.
Now, do you raise livestock yourself?
I have sheep, and I have.
Is that for business or
Oh,
just?
no.
Okay, it sounds like your business might be dependent on his business too, which is a whole other
No.
Your lifestyle.
To be, yeah, well, it is, but I really like his quality of hay,
Sure.
and sometimes if he, for whatever reason, a freeze and you know, cutting that last 5th cycle, we might have to go to other suppliers to get our hay, and it's. You can see it's a craftsmanship, it's an art with him. And the hay, it's a very, very quality hay quality.